Well, we're back right here in the studio, and our guest that we have with us right now is Dr. Abdel Mohsen Al Hamoud. And Dr. Abdel Mohsen is a forensic and general psychiatrist. And Dr. Abdel Mohsen, we'd like to welcome you to our program, Hala Kuwait.
Well, thank you. Thanks for the invitation.
Pleasure to have you with us right here on the program.
Thank you.
And we saw that report there, you know, how to prepare for yourself for a new year. You know, people always have expectations, New Year resolutions, and so forth. So tell us a little bit, how should someone prepare as they enter a new year?
You don't. Simply, you don't.
Go with the flow?
So this is actually the mistake that we do, right? I mean, we do plan a lot. We over-plan it, okay? So which leads to disappointment, right? And if you basically see the resolutions, the New Year resolutions, they're more focused about about the self. I should quit smoking. I should lose weight, right? It's more about the I and having too much expectation, right? So what happens if, for example, like I don't stop smoking? What does that mean? Does it mean I'm a failure?
No.
I'm a loser, right? So instead of having too much expectation of stopping smoking, for example, right? I mean, lower down your expectations. So instead of saying like, okay, now currently I'm smoking 20 cigarettes a day, I'll be smoking, for example, 15, right? Reduce that
Something
number.
realistic, doctor.
It's more realistic, absolutely, okay? So, and the issue is that every single year that we are obsessed with the same concept that we need to do better and better and better, just like saying that we haven't done enough. Right? Mm-hmm. But enough is very subjective. What is enough?
Yes.
Right. So saying that I need to do better is a good thing. However, again, focus more on giving rather than just yourself. I mean, this is the problem actually what we have, right? Not just in Kuwait, but this is kind of more like the westernized idea. Now it's being more focused about the self, what we need to do to be more successful, how many followers we should have in social media, right? People are more obsessed about fame, right? In the past, people were more concerned about families, about their role in the society, rather than the self.
Sure.
People used to even avoid using the word I, right? Which basically goes more with narcissism. So if I speak a lot more about myself, that's more being narcissist. That gives basically the idea that I can be whatever I want, okay? I do not need others, which is really wrong. And this is honestly even the message that we usually hear since we were kids, right? Now with even the kids' stories, they're basically feeding kids with wrong messages saying, you can do it. The sky is the limit. Right? A princess, you're a princess, you're a prince, you're a king. No, you're not. You're just a normal person. Okay? So when we have high expectations and always being raised, and then you do not reach that, what does that lead?
Leads to setbacks,
and disappointment. Right? So the idea is do not have high expectations, right? Focus on others rather than focusing on yourself.
Yeah, and then seems like sometimes society, people can be very pessimistic, doctor, for some reason, especially for no reason sometimes. Why is that?
Well,
what
again,
have you noticed about that?
Again, this is part of narcissism, right? I mean, and this is, again, not just in Kuwait. This is more of what happened in the last I would say 4 or 5 decades, right? With the focus more, especially with the baby bloomers, when the finances started to bloom in the West, and the idea changed from being that it's difficult to be very successful to the idea that I can easily be successful, right? So now most of us, the generations from the 1940s, we got raised with the idea that it's easy actually to be successful, which is really wrong, which gives a lot of responsibility on our shoulders, that we need to be successful to be basically wanted or accepted in the society. Right?
What about, doctor, people want to plan for a new year? Let's say they have some scheduled things like in 3 months I want to do this, in 6 months and that. Should that also be more flexible? Because sometimes, you know, you plan these things and they don't happen. Then you have a big letdown. What's your advice on this, sir?
So the idea is always return to why do you need to do it? Is it part of being more happy about yourself, more accepting yourself, right? So if that's the question is, do you really need to change anything, okay? Right, and if happiness is really the thing, I should talk about a very genius, actually, study was done.
Yes, tell us, please.
It was done in a University of Zurich, and they divided a group of people into 2 groups. So one group, both of them, they gave them a sum of money, and they asked them to spend the money. So the first group spent the money on themselves, and the other group to spend the money on others. And they rated their happiness, right, before and after. So those who gave, they're actually more happier than the ones who spend the money on themselves, right? And interestingly, even they looked at their brain functioning, and they found that the ventral striatum, which is the area of the brain that usually gets more active when people are happy, right, was actually more active with those who gave. So if the thing is, if you're concerned more about happiness, right, give rather than receive. Think of others rather than thinking of I, okay? So think of the family. Volunteer, right? Volunteer, help others. This is actually what can be a really good New Year resolution.
Very rewarding.
Very rewarding, exactly. So people are more obsessed about themselves. We need to do something for ourselves. No, in reality, this actually will lead more to disappointments. Yes, it's good to have a plan, but don't over-plan it.
People seem to be a little more self-centered, doctor, correct?
They are, absolutely. And this is, again, part of what we see in the social media and in TV in general, right? That it's easy to get famous. I mean, you just need to sing a couple of songs, for example, you get famous. People doing, for example, like nothing, and they got famous from social media, right? So this gives actually a false belief that, no, it is easy to be famous. But again, those people who are famous, are they happier than those people who are, example, they're more concerned they're more concerned about the people around them, their families, their society, right? Rather than focusing about themselves, okay? So
Doctor, you know, coming towards the end of our interview, we're entering the new year. What bit of advice, final bit of advice would you have for the audience watching our program this evening?
So again, do not have high expectations. Give in order for you to receive, love in order for you to be loved, and forget yourself, lose yourself in order for you to find it. And Happy New Year.
Very well said, and Happy New Year to you also, Doctor, and pleasure to have you this evening right here on Hala Kuwait, and we hope to have you once again on our program to talk about different subjects and aspects of this very interesting field. Thank you, Doctor.
Inshallah. Thank you.
It was a pleasure having you on, and we were speaking to Dr. Abdul Muhsin Al-Ahmoud, and he is a forensic and general psychiatrist, and we'd like to thank him so much for his time with us this evening right here on Hala Kuwait. And pretty much now we come to the end of tonight's program. Make sure to enjoy the rest of your viewing this evening as well as in the upcoming new year. A lot of great programs right here on KTV2, the family channel. Before I leave you, remember to always take care of yourselves and each other, and let's always remember to respect one another. Have a nice evening, and good night for now.